In the past few years, we've seen hundreds of thousands of people move to UAE, making UAE their home. But how are people actually moving to the UAE? Well, one simple way is if they land up with a job, they get a residency visa and they come here and live. But that's not the only way. In the past few years, a lot has changed with initiatives from the government such as golden visas, retirement visas, and a lot of other options to gain residency in Dubai and make this lovely city your home. In today's episode of the Dubai Real Estate Podcast, I have a very, very, very special guest, probably one of my most challenging episodes to do. And I'll tell you the reason very soon. But today, it's all about how to get a golden visa, how to get a residency visa, how can you set up a company and get a visa, or how do you open a business in Dubai, how does, setting up a bank account work, or if you want to set up a trust or foundation. So guys, my today's guest is none other than my beautiful wife, Zeba Majithia, who actually runs her own firm where she manages, for clients, getting them their golden visas, opening their companies, help them set up their bank accounts and, taking care of corporate structuring. But without wasting any further time, I would like to straight get into the episode. But guys, before I start, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell to stay updated. Your likes, comments, and shares are really, really appreciated. Guys, please share this as much as possible because that's how I can actually grow my YouTube channel. I try to bring as much value as possible and try to cut out all the bullshit unlike a lot of other people and try to deliver value as much as possible. So guys, please share this. And now let's cue the music. So Zeba, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us on the show. I know it's taken too long to get you here, but why don't you start with a quick introduction so the clients or viewers listening to this know what do you do?
Okay. Thank you first and foremost for inviting me on your show.
My pleasure.
Okay. We've been in Dubai for about 13 years now. I used to work in the bank, both HSBC and Emirates NBD, extremely strong banks. One being an international bank, one being the largest local bank. I quit 3 years ago and started our family business, which is basically the third vertical, which I'm taking care of, which is corporate setups, banking assistance, residencies and golden visas, and tax structures.
Okay. First thing, how does one get a golden visa? Now, everybody knows, okay, you can buy a 2 million dirham property, but how easy or difficult is it to get and what documents are required?
Okay, so the Golden Visa is an extremely easy program compared to the rest of the world, whoever has long-term residency programs. Right. In UAE, we get Golden Visa from several categories, ranging right from someone who's salaried, someone who's kept a deposit in the bank, an outstanding student, an athlete, someone who's from the content creation field, someone who's creative basically, or someone who's purchased a property.
Right.
Now for someone who's bought a property, because I think this would be more relevant to that audience, the property needs to be 2 million or above in value. So if it is a property which is bought a while back, and if the property value currently is more than 2 million, you can very well get a golden visa on that. All you have to do is a valuation. Right. So that's one criteria. The second criteria is that the 2 million could be owned by an individual or it could be a husband and wife, because the land department recognizes the husband and wife as one unit. So it could either be an individual or a husband and wife owning a property worth 2 million, or if there are multiple people owning the asset, it has to be 2 million each in their proportion. Now that's how the eligibility. So how you qualify is you need to have an Okud in place in case if it is an off-plan property. When I say off-plan, as in under construction property, correct? As long as there's an Okud, which is the initial contract it's a pre-title deed,
Yes.
as we call it. So that needs to be there, or the title deed. If it's got a mortgage, a ready property, and it has a mortgage, so we require a letter from the bank also, which is an NOC, that the bank has no objection. We require the passport copies, photographs, insurance. If it's an off-plan property, also the statement of accounts from the developer.
Oh, and if it's a ready property, then all these things are not required. Just
the title deed and
title deed
passport.
copy.
Yeah.
So how much time does this golden visa process take? And is it really complicated, or is it easy to get one?
Oh, super easy to get one. It takes less than 2 weeks to obtain a golden visa.
Okay. And once a person buys a property, is there any sort of anything else which a person should know about? Or is it like that as long as they have a property for 2 million, they can straight get a golden visa? Are there any other conditions which need to be met?
No, as long as the person has the okud or the title deed,
Yeah.
he or she can very well qualify. And of course, the asset needs to be in the individual name. So
Okay.
no problem.
So if they own a property in the company name, they cannot get a golden visa.
That's correct.
And what about this visa is only for the husband and wife, or who else can avail this?
Okay, great question. So the golden visa is once the primary applicant gets it, whether it's a husband or a wife, irrespective, whoever gets it, they can very well sponsor their kids. Unmarried daughter, unmarried son can sponsor their parents, can sponsor unlimited domestic staff. The only people that they can't sponsor would be brother and sister.
Okay. So basically your immediate family, which is your wife, kids, parents, you can easily sponsor.
Yes.
Okay. And once they get a golden visa, do they need to live in the UAE, or is there any criteria? Because some countries have this, that once you get into the program, you have to spend X number of days in the country. Is there anything like that in the golden visa?
Again, a very great question. No, unlike other countries wherein you have to be for a minimum amount of days in a year, UAE has no condition like that at the moment. As long as you have the golden visa, even if you come once in 10 years, it's all right.
Once they've taken a golden visa, can they work in the country, or are there any restrictions on that?
Oh, no restrictions at all. They can work, they can study, they can live, they can do what they want. No problem.
Based on the golden visa, right, do they get any other advantages of getting this golden visa?
See, the advantage is that, first of all, it's very cost effective compared to a visa which you get by a company, right? Or if a dependent application has been sponsored. So it's way cheaper. Like literally, if I talk, the maximum cost that is there in the golden visa is almost 1,000 dirhams annually, which is it's actually 10,000 for 10 years, which is 1,000 dirhams a year, which you're talking about less than $300. So it's great.
Okay. So now, my other question to you is, you also do company setups.
Yes.
Do you need a local partner or a local sponsor to open a business in UAE?
Not required anymore since June 2021. For a mainland company, free zone companies never had that you required a local sponsor. Okay. So to answer your question, barring a few companies which require local, the rest you can take 100% ownership.
So you can open a mainland company without having any local partner?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. When you open a mainland company or you open a free zone company,
yes,
what exactly are the differences and what are the pros and cons?
Okay, so a mainland, first of all, a free zone company was actually set up in UAE because there were certain pockets which the government wanted to develop. Right? So we have more than 45 plus free zones within UAE and 30 plus free zones within Dubai itself. So there were certain pockets which the government wanted to develop. Right? So in that, they gave 100% ownership in the beginning. Whereas at that point of time, if you recall, 51% the mainland company had to be owned by a local.
Yes.
Obviously, COVID happened and a lot of things changed. Wherein in a mainland also you can have 100% ownership after 2021. Now, the advantages and disadvantages. Mainland is basically you can have an office anywhere in mainland. So you can hire staff basis, whatever office space you have, right? With the free zone, you can do everything remotely. So that's a great advantage, especially for clients who don't live in the country. 100% everything can be done remotely. That's one. They don't require an office space at any point of time. A virtual desk space is already provided by the Free Zone Authority, which works beautifully. So they don't require physical premises to be there. So that's another advantage. Also, a very big advantage that we see why clients obtain is the ability to choose more than 3 activities. So 3 activities, you can do it any which way is free of cost, but you can go up to 10 activities in certain free zones. Some free zones even 15
So on one license.
on one license, which mainland doesn't allow.
Okay. So in a mainland company, how many activities you can have?
So it's only one activity. For example, if it's a similar nature of work, you can add that. But to answer your question, it's restricted to one activity per license.
But within the activity, if there are different scopes or different types of activities, sub-activities that you can have.
Possible, yes.
Okay. And how easy or difficult is it to open a business license in Dubai?
Oh my God, it's so easy. We could literally do it in 2 hours.
2 hours a person can own a business.
Absolutely, yes.
And
yes.
how much does, opening a business cost?
So anywhere from 7,000 dirhams going up until, depending on what's the permutation combination we have, how much staff we're looking at hiring, if there's a physical premises involved, basis all of that. But yes, from 7,000 dirhams, you could very well set up a company.
And this is a annual cost, or is it recurring? How is it? One-time cost?
So in UAE, every cost for the company is an annual cost,
Okay.
right? Unlike certain jurisdictions where you just pay one time and you have the license. So that's that's one factor, one cost which the clients need to consider when they open a company, because these are annual costs. Now, the reason is again very simple. In countries where the tax is high, the company setup is lower. So if
Right.
you compare UK, India, all of that. Whereas in places where the taxation is less, the company setup cost is high. So that's the only thing.
Okay. But now tell me something. With opening a business,
Mhm.
does the person also get a visa?
Absolutely, yes. They get a 2-year visa.
Okay.
So you can very well qualify to get a visa on the company. It's possible.
And is there any criteria of getting any number of visas? Because say someone wants to open a business, wants to hire 10 people, 15 people, whatever, or
Yep.
maybe 2. How does that get defined? Is there a criteria, or is that's unlimited?
Okay. Again, the criteria and the definition of that would depend on which free zone or mainland or what kind of structure the client essentially takes.
Okay.
Right? So, for example, if it's a mainland company, a client has an office premises. So, so as per the number of square feet that the client has, they can qualify for those many visas. In free zones, they do have a definition where they can give you only 3 or 6 visas without a physical office space.
Okay.
However, in certain free zones, if the workload is justified and if there's no need for the client to have an office, free zones do consider that.
Okay. And these businesses, business licenses which people would open, say, in a free zone or a mainland, what sort of activities are allowed? As in, is it any sort of activity, or what is the, say if someone wants to open an e-commerce business, trading business, whatever, are there any restrictions on any sort of activities?
So no restrictions per se. However, we do have activities categorized as regulated or non-regulated activities. Okay. When we say regulated activities, like for example, if it's a clinic, right? Or if it is anything dealing with aviations, okay, right? So in that case, there are certain authority approvals which are required, like from civil aviation or from Dubai Health Authority or Dubai Municipality. So those approvals can easily be obtained as long as you have a proper business plan and whatever is requisite for that particular regulated activity. As long as you meet that criteria, you can get it.
Okay.
However, because we've touched on this topic, okay, I would highly suggest where your banking is concerned, right? Always take an activity which, you have experience or you have something similar that you've done at home or, similar nature of work that you're involved in or you've studied it. Don't go for something which is extremely polar, right? Okay. Because then that could ask questions.
Okay. Hey guys, just want to take a brief moment to talk more about Prime Capital Real Estate, a boutique real estate firm based here in Dubai. If you need any help with investing in properties in Dubai, please do reach out to me on any of my social media handles at Zeba Majithia. We don't just sell you a property, we're here to build a long-term relationship. And what that means is we're here to not just sell you a property, but make sure that tomorrow if you want to resell the property, you want to rent the property, you want to get a golden visa, you need help setting up a business over here or a bank account, we are there for you. A one-stop shop. You don't need to go to 10 people and do 10 different things. We're here to help you, a one-stop solution. If you want to speak to me ever, do reach out to me on any of my social media handles at Tahir Majithia. And now back to the show. So Zeba, with so many people, especially the wealthy individuals and rich people coming to Dubai, how do the rich people save taxes by creating structures? How are they investing into Dubai?
Okay, so the wealthy people are obviously known to save their wealth, take advantage of the taxation system that exists. So they would set up a corporation in UAE, buy assets from that, could be either financial assets, could either be properties from that particular holding company. Now that could either be a subsidiary of the international company or or a separate entity altogether. As you are aware of, certain jurisdictions, you cannot transfer funds in the personal account and then transfer it to the company, right? So they would prefer transferring from the company, and those they have heavy personal tax.
So basically, they open a company over here, which is owned by their company wherever they are from.
Perfect, yes.
And they just transfer the money, which also is for a lot of people that also saves taxes because it's investment in business.
Correct, yes.
And then they can buy assets on those company names.
Perfect, yes. And also that removes the limitation of how much amount that they can send annually, or certain jurisdictions do have that.
So how easy or difficult is it to set up a company to own properties?
Okay, so it's super easy to set up a company. It could be a holding company that they can set up. It could be either owned by the international company. In case if it's owned by the international company, all the international company documents need to be apostilled, and they need to be attested by the UAE embassy over there, and the same has to be attested by the embassy in UAE. After that, you can form the company.
And how much time does it take to form such companies?
So once we have all the requisites and the documentation in place, again, it could be anywhere 2 hours to about 4 days at the max, yeah.
Okay. And these companies are mainland companies, or these holding companies would be some free zone offshore? What kind of setup do these have?
So it really depends what the client wants to go ahead for. It could either be mainland, free zone, offshore, or it could just be owning by a foundation in the country. So it's possible.
Okay. Now, talking about foundation, how does one, because a lot of people in the West also have trusts, and, some places they call it foundations. How easy or difficult is it to form a trust or a foundation in UAE?
Okay. So again, it's not complicated, but however, when you have to see a foundation, right, because there are a lot of things that go into it. There's a lot of planning because it's used for estate planning. It's used for will planning, for succession. It's used for tax planning. Correct. So all this takes time. We have to predefine every particular thing. If the client is aware, it goes faster, but could be anywhere between 3 weeks to about 2 months.
Okay. And what would something like this cost?
Again, it depends upon the complications involved, but we're talking about at least starting from, if I tell you in dirham terms, would start anywhere from like 50 to 60,000 minimum.
Okay. So that is a slightly more expensive structure to set.
For sure. Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me something. Now, opening a business, we all know, is very easy in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people find it a nightmare opening a bank account.
Yes.
Why is that so?
Okay. First of all, everybody needs to remember that you are new to the country, right? Say, for example, if I am from my country, and if I have a company over there and I want to open a bank account, for me, it'll be way easier in my country to open one because literally the government has all my details.
Right.
Now, this is a new country. 80% plus people are expats. Correct. So when the banks have to onboard an account, they have to do their due diligence. Now, the problem happens when clients don't understand that why we are asking them for home country documents, right? Now, we ask home country documents for a very simple reason, because we need to understand the client's source of income, source of funds. When I say source of funds, it is your bank account or your portfolio statement, basically where the money is kept. Now, we have to see the source of income. What I mean by source of income is we need to understand how the client has earned that money.
Right.
For example, if it's inheritance, the client would also support it with an inheritance deed, right? If it's, for example, if it's a salaried person, very simple, they would give salaries slips. If it's someone who owns a business, you would have to give business bank statements, your business account statements, your trade license showing that you're the shareholder. And of course, at certain times, if you are owning a business, the banks may also ask you for certain additional documents to see that those transactions are in line with the business. For example, if you have a food business, right, but you are actually receiving money from some bullion company, a gold company, there is no connection, right? And also also, I always tell my clients a very simple example. Today, if somebody rings your home bell, right? Are you just going to let that person come in? Definitely not, correct?
Yeah.
You would do your due diligence. Okay, where are you coming from, or what's the reason, and things like that. Similarly, even opening a bank account is as simple as that. So before they actually let you in the bank, they want to check you. Also, in case if the client is not of a clear profile, right? In that case, if the banks onboard such accounts, they are levied with heavy penalties, a lot of fines. Sometimes these fines even eat half their revenue. So it's not worth it, right?
Okay. But say if someone is opening a new business and they are, setting up a bank account, what would be your tips to tell them that, look, don't make these mistakes?
Okay, so when they're opening a bank account, first and foremost, get all your documents ready in the beginning, which is, a CV about yourself, or have a LinkedIn profile. If you're setting up a business over here, it's better if you have a website in place, at least a landing page, what you're doing, what the company is into, something like that. Do share your source of income, your source of funds. A very important thing is share your business plan.
Okay.
Right? Because that's when the banks feel comfortable and they know that you are actually doing genuine business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And typically, how much time does one take to open a business bank account?
Okay. Again, interesting. To open a bank account, we have digital banks, and we also have your mainstream traditional banks, right? Now, with a digital bank, it's way easier to open an account and extremely fast. I think 3 to 5 days at the max is what we're talking about. With a mainstream bank, obviously they have more questions that they ask you. So the process could be anywhere ranging from about 4 days, going up until 2 months, depending on how cooperative a client is.
Okay. That's great. Now, Zeba, coming back to the topic of golden visa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when a person takes a golden visa based on property, does the property get blocked, or what is it? Or is he free to sell the property?
When a person buys an asset, and from that asset, he or she is taking a golden visa, is obtaining one, right? In that case, land department blocks that property.
Okay.
When you say block that property, what it actually means is, you can very well do short-term rentals, you can do long-term rentals, you can live yourself if you have to, or keep it empty, whatever, it's your wish. The only thing which you can't do is sell the property. Because the property is locked, land department doesn't let that transaction go.
Okay.
Then what do you do in a scenario like that? You would either put your visa on hold, okay, because maybe you're looking for another property or something, or maybe you have another property, you would transfer it. Or you could cancel the visa. But
if, say, someone wants to upgrade, say, let's assume someone's staying in a, bought a property for 2 million, it's a 2-bedroom apartment. 2-3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, they want to upgrade into a townhouse or a bigger apartment, whatever, right? So how easy or difficult is it?
Very easy. UAE is so digitally fast that the government processes are super streamlined.
So will they have to cancel the visa, sell the property and again take a visa, or how it does that?
No, they can put the property on hold. Now there's a certain stipulated time that they have to find another property and then shift it to that. So once they found something, they can very well shift it to that. Until then, their visa can be on hold.
Okay. And are there any restrictions when the visa is on hold that for them, or there's nothing as such?
No restrictions.
Okay. So basically, if a person has a golden visa and wants to upgrade to a different, or change the property, whatever, they can hold their golden visa, sell the property, buy another, and then transfer the golden visa on that.
Absolutely. No problem.
And in this, is there a major cost involved, or it's not? Is it cost effective?
No, it's very cost effective. There is no cost as such.
Okay.
It's easy to do it.
Okay. So now this is all about golden visa.
Yep.
What about retirement visas?
Correct. So now this initiative is, earlier, if you know UAE, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us we've lived for so long, but we've not had properties in the beginning. We've only started having properties essentially just before COVID. So a lot of people would not buy properties over here. They would send monies back home so that when they retire, they could go back home. But what UAE realized is that, somebody who's lived for more than 25, 30 years now, going back to their lifestyle, back in their country, it's not easy because they've already made a social connect over here, an ecosystem over here. So in that case, what they have done is anybody who is above the age of 55 and has invested at least in 1 million, okay, which has to be the value of the property, they can very well get a 10-year golden visa, a 5-year golden visa, which
Okay.
is renewable.
Okay. So that 5-year retirement visa is renewable as long as they own the property.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And that retirement visa is, again, is for how many people? Like husband, wife, or is it like just one person? Or
No. So again, the retirement visa, it's not just for the husband, wife. It could be the husband, wife, the children who are unmarried,
okay.
and the parents. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. I think, Zeba, that was really, really informative. And I'm glad I was able to do this. Now, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they contact you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is via email. My email address is zebamajithia@gmail.com or zeba@ficocapitalsolutions.com.
Okay. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm going to leave Zeba's contact details in the description below, her phone number and email address. If you need any help in getting a golden visa or opening up a company, setting up a bank account, do get in touch with her, and she will make sure she does your work very efficiently. A lot of my friends and colleagues use her services, and till date I haven't received a complaint. So if you need any help with golden visas, guys, do get in touch with her.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
And this
you.
was extremely nervous-ing for me because I cannot be sitting beside my husband and doing this.
Okay.
But
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you need to get in touch with Zeba, I'm leaving her contact details in the show description below. And if you need any assistance with golden visas or opening up a company, bank account, please do get in touch with her. And I'll be back with another episode of the Dubai Real Estate Podcast very soon.